vast universe, you'll believe in heroes again.
How to draw comics like a pro. Mike S. Miller, 27-year industry veteran, best known for my work on Injustice from DC, Game of Thrones, all that fun stuff. How to draw comics like a pro. And let's get rolling on how to draw comics like a pro. Let's grab a new page. And all right. So, exaggerated features. So, excuse me. You know that your standard. Let's again start with the standard, right? Standard, dude. Sort of dad bod. Hey, peace sign. Now, standard guy, standard muscles shape, standard muscle size, all that fun stuff. When you want to do someone ridiculously oversized, you don't kind of just stretch them out. You do still kind of have to have some kind of basis, right? You need to build out their skeletal structure. Actually, let's give this guy a really wide chest, and then he's still got to have all the necessary joints and ligaments where everything meets, shoulder points. Make them huge like this. So you can and should, at least until you get a good sense of how this stuff works, start with what you would consider a stick figure skeleton, right? Give him a Liefeld chest. No. Now you're still, again, going to have your points of contact, and this is where learning anatomy on top of structure comes into play. So you have a bone, right? Big guy like this can have a big, thick bone. The pectoral muscles attached to this center part of the chest, the sternum. They all attach here on that bone, because that's, I know, weird, right? Tiny, horrible amount of leverage. That's why this muscle has to be so large to pull this whole shaft of the bone based on this one part where it's wrapped here. And then the deltoids start here and wrap around and attach to this part of the bone, right? And that's how they pull. That's the lever. That's the lever that pulls the bone up. The bicep, I forgot. Let's see. The bicep attaches here on this bone, right? Not on this bone. This bone, and then it attaches also to the top of this bone. So it attaches here. And that's so that, it acts as a lever. You've got a bone here, you've got a bone here, you attach here and you attach here, and then this acts as a piston to pull this bone forward, and then you have your triceps attached to the back side of the bone, actually kind of wraps around here, the tendons do, and then the triceps pull. So this pulls and your arm straightens. This pulls and your arm flexes. So regardless, all these mechanisms still have to work, right? It doesn't matter if you're trying to make this dude look like, massive crazy Hulk, where, his muscles are just beyond anything reasonable. If it doesn't look like they're going to work, then something is going to look off about your art. Another muscle pulls your arms here, and I can't, if I'm doing just large forms like this, I can't really get into all the minutia, because like I said, I actually have to leave to go pick up my daughter in a bit. So gonna cut this episode shorter than an hour. And here, same thing with the trapezius. And then the neck, when you have a big hulking guy like this, the neck obviously has to be strong enough to match. So it's like he's not gonna have a little. You're not gonna have this big hulking dude and then whoop, there's my head. Hi, I'm like there. You know, that doesn't work either. So the neck has to replicate the power of the form, so it all works together. All right, and then you can really just build out these muscles, because I'm just showing you the how it works here. But yeah, you guys know that, you know, pectoral muscles, obviously they're like balloons laid across a concave thing, right? So you've got a balloon. If it's flat and nothing, it's just kind of flat here. But if you fill that balloon up with water, it's going to bulge out like this, right? And obviously, the more water you fill it up with, the bigger it's going to get. But it still has the same points of contact, and there's nowhere for it to go against the rib cage, so it just gets bigger and bigger until it's just ridiculous, right? I hope that makes sense to you. Let me see if you guys understand in the chat. All right, so let me just kind of do this more in a blocky sense so you understand where I'm going. This is over-exaggerated forms, like a la the Hulk, or the way people draw like a really yoked out whoever. That is one thing. I tend to not like crazy over-exaggerations on form. By the way, if you're gonna have him be this big, you really do have to yoke up his traps and his lats, right? Muscles, obliques, serratus anterior, latissimus dorsi, and then obviously, unless you want him to be like, you know, what is it? Savage Dragon has these little tiny pin legs. But let's not do that, because we're not drawing Evander Holyfield. Whoa! Same thing. Musculature has to... I mean, I'm not going to sit here and teach you guys... Well, maybe not this time. I'm not going to teach you everything about anatomy. But I am trying to teach you structural stuff one thing at a time here. One thing at a time. Hopefully, if you stick with me over the course of however many months or years, you'll figure all this stuff out. And then, you know, you're welcome to also do a little homework and grab the Bridgman book. You can get it for free online as a PDF. George Bridgman's Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. Or Andrew Loomis Creative Illustration. I believe that's the one. Two great resources. They take slightly different directions, but still great stuff. Great stuff. What about hats or caps? What about hats or caps? All right, now that's like big bulky guy in stasis. All right, let's do something more fun. Let's do big bulky guy coming at you. Of course, this is going to have to be like, or I should do something, well, okay, at some point I'll do something with like perspectives and foreshortening and all that stuff. You can get a slight sense of what I'm doing here. So I'm still doing the cylinders, right? See, this is all stuff you do have to catalog in your own head. You have to catalog the structural stuff, the anatomical stuff, the way things have flow and balance, how things design on a page, good use of space, negative space, giving the eye places to rest if that's important to the drawing you're doing, right? So let's see here. You're doing Hulk Rampage. I don't remember who asked me to do this as the topic, but anybody is allowed to ask any questions they want. Again, this is a workshop tutorial, so I am here as a teacher available for your commentary. If you have critiques, well, start your own show. This is commentary for students and artists who value my opinion and want to learn what I have to teach them. Hey, YouTube is open for everybody. If you have something you want to teach, go ahead. All right, so that's sort of a good, it still looks like all these parts can work. The elbows here, so you can still have triceps that pull that back. Oftentimes I do like to kind of over exaggerate the triceps. More so, what you don't want to do when you're drawing somebody with a big arm, right? It's like, hey, I've got a big arm, so therefore he's got to have a giant bicep, and it doesn't matter about his tricep. That's not right. That doesn't look right, right? Oops. Layer. Oh, deselect. Lasso. All right. If you're drawing a giant arm, it's the tricep that's still going to take up the majority of the mass. You can have a huge bicep, right? You can have a huge bicep lonking into the forearm and all that stuff, but it's still the tricep that is going to take up the majority of that space. So don't get lost in this weird fantasy world where drawing ridiculously oversized biceps is a good idea. Back structure. Ooh, weak point. All right, I can try to give you the basics of back structure. Basics: trapezius, scapula, right? Shoulders, deltoids, tricep, latissimus dorsi. Then you do see the bone here, and you see the bone here. Tricep allows for the scapula to set in, and then you have the back muscles, the tail bone area, the gluteus maximus attaching to the hips, the obliques here. That's your basic back structure. Obviously, if you pull your shoulders back, your shoulder blades tighten up here. They come more towards the center. If you push your arms forward, the shoulder blades pull out this way, right? The shoulder blades swing back and forth like this. So this is not it's not like the pecs where the shoulder blades are just stuck in one position all the time. They are designed for movement. So yeah, there you go. So don't just draw the shoulder blades in the same place every time. You have to keep in mind what the position of your arm is as you're drawing the shoulder blades. So again, we have, and then the neck comes up behind here. Smoking a cigarette. You have trapezius, which is a triangular shape that connects to the neck, turns your neck, right? Trapezius shaped like this. You have the shoulder blades that set into the trapezius. You have the latissimus dorsi, which goes all the way along the back. It is the giant muscle of the back group that wraps around into the front side and weaves into the serratus anterior, which then weaves down into your obliques here. And then you have back muscles that pull up and down the back. You know, like when you pull your back up like that, that's your back muscles doing that. So again, your latissimus dorsi, obliques, and then a tight little buttocks. Gluteus maximus anterior. Deltoids, tricep. I don't know all the names of the muscles of the forearm. There's another muscle here, which name always escapes me, that braids from your upper arm, connects to your upper arm bone into your forearm. I really need to memorize those names too. Right, and then the neck, and then the neck. All right, so any questions for that?